Hi, my name is Louise Marberg. I'm going to be reading from the anthology Runaway by Madville Publishing. My story is called Vivian Delmar. Vivian Delmar. For 12 years, Eleanor had been telling people her parents were dead, but the chance of that being true anytime soon was slim. Her mother had given birth to Eleanor at 21. Her father had been 23. Now, at 56 and 58, they traveled around the country in a derelict RV, stopping in random towns whenever they needed money and taking what temporary work they could find. They had been living this way since Eleanor's junior year of college. Her roommate at the time referred to them, too often, as recreational hobos. Eleanor had killed them off in a crash the summer after graduation and arrived in New York City an orphan. Their number was identified on her cell phone by the name Vivian Delmar, which was their first names combined, and Eleanor wouldn't pick up their calls unless she was alone. They didn't call on any particular day or time, and sometimes not for long stretches, so she always jumped a little when Vivian Delmar lit up the screen. They called one evening when she was at a restaurant with a guy named Nick, who she'd been set up with by a mutual friend. The restaurant was a fashionable spot, and the crowd at the bar was deep. She looked at her phone, set it to vibrate, and dropped it back into her purse. "It's just someone boring," she said as she dug into her pasta. It was past 8 and she was ravenous. She was always eating or thinking about eating. It was a miracle she wasn't fat. "Boring how?" Nick asked. The question surprised her. "Oh, I don't know." She thought about an acquaintance who really was boring. "She just had a baby and can't talk about anything else. Don't you hate that?" Nick raised an eyebrow. He had fabulous eyebrows, dark and full, and his eyes were truly green, not blue-green or brown-green. She would almost say they were emerald. He was handsomer than she was pretty by far, which she hoped he wouldn't realize. "Don't you like children?" he said. "I adore children," she said. "I mean, talking constantly about any subject is a bore." Mostly what she felt about children was that she needed to give birth to one soon because she would be 40 in only 5 years. Every guy she went out with was a possible mate. She wasn't fooling around anymore. She imagined a dark-haired, green-eyed child, the product of Nick's dominant genes. Her hair was blonde by the way of the bottle, mouse-colored in its natural state. Though her eyes were identified as blue on her driver's license, they were as gray as an overcast sky. She felt her phone vibrate where the bag touched her hip. She excused herself, went to the bathroom, and locked herself in a stall. Vivian Delmar had called 3 times the day before. She sat on the toilet and listened to the voicemail. "Eleanor, sweetie?" Vivian's voice sang with eagerness. "Call us, okay? It's important." Eleanor had arrived at the opinion that Vivian was a twit when she agreed with Delmar that becoming a vagabond would be fun. She'd been a stay-at-home mom all of Eleanor's childhood, family-centric and involved in the community. "I know Dad's making you do this," Eleanor had said as plans were made and possessions sold. "Maybe I'm making him do it," Vivian had replied. "What's the matter?" she said when Vivian answered. "Nothing's the matter," Vivian said. "We have exciting news." "Yeah, what?" Eleanor said. She examined her fingernails, which had been manicured that day, and was irked by a minute bare spot on the pink polish near the cuticle of her thumb. The last exciting news her parents had imparted was that they had traded in their RV for a slightly less run-down model. "We're coming to New York," Vivian said. "You can't do that," Eleanor said in a rigidly calm voice. "RVs aren't allowed in the city." This wasn't true, but she thought it should have been. "The RV isn't going to be a problem. Wait, your father wants to talk to you." "Eleanor, we're going to leave the RV in New Jersey and take the bus into the city." "Where would you say?" Eleanor said. "Hotels are expensive, you know." There was a silence before Delmar said, "Well, I figured we'd stay with you." A toilet flushed and a pair of heels clacked across the tiles. Eleanor heard water running, then the rip of a paper towel. Occasionally she talked to her parents using FaceTime, but it had been a decade since she'd seen them in person. Early on, she had made an effort to visit them, sneaking away to wherever they'd landed. Then one year, she decided to use her vacation days to go where she pleased, and had such a good time she never visited them again. "I'm at dinner, Dad. I can't talk about this right now." She hung up without saying goodbye. She flushed the toilet as if she'd used it, washed her hands at a row of sinks beneath a long mirror. Dampening a paper towel with cold water, she pressed it to her burning cheeks. She thought of herself as a generous host. She had a pull-out couch where her out-of-town friends often stayed. "No fucking way," she said to her reflection. "Not in a million years."